This is a slide I use to describe where the potential improvements in pancreatic cancer therapy will take place. First, probably the most important thing is we can alter environmental and genetic risk factors, like smoking is a good example. Decreasing smoking is going to decrease the incidence of pancreatic cancer, but there are also dietary factors and other things that we're learning about that may influence that as well. The other thing that's been alluded to is that we could do surgical cures more frequently, potentially, if we had early identification markers or early biomarkers. And as you know, in our environment and other places in the world, people are working on various kinds of tests that go anywhere from the blood to the breath to try to figure out early markers for pancreatic cancer. And in here, we're working on salivary markers in the dental school. The other thing I should point out is that the environment in the cancer is different than normal environments in that there's hypoxia, and hypoxia turns on certain signals in the cancer cell to promote its growth. But the other thing that's been known for many, many years that's less well investigated is that there's a low pH in the environment. Cancer cells, by their nature, change their metabolism to, instead of using oxygen to make their ATP through mitochondrial pathways, actually use more glucose and make lactic acid as a product, and their environment is a low pH because of that. Now, it turns out that we actually use that phenomenon to create a test called a PET scan, where those cancer cells are taking up more glucose, and we can mark that glucose with radio tracers we can follow in a PET scan and actually visualize highly metabolic cancer cells that are taking up more glucose and making more lactic acid. So we use it as a diagnostic test. But we actually know very little about how the low acid environment and the lactic acid itself maybe actually regulate the growth of all the players that are in the environment. And this is just another list of those diseases that cause chronic pancreatitis. I mentioned alcoholism, I mentioned cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, hereditary pancreatitis, but also other chronic diseases, some of which have also been associated with, that are associated with chronic pancreatitis, but also have been associated with pancreatic cancer. It's known that patients with pancreatic cancer have immune cells both in their bone marrow and their circulating blood that can attack the pancreatic cancer cells if you do those in vitro studies. However, they won't attack them when the cancer is in its intact state with all of the environmental factors that I described. Low pH, possibly hypoxia, is altering the immune cells so they, even if they were entering into the environment of the cancer, aren't working to provide immune surveillance and kill the cancer cells. So it makes me think that there could be a role for developing these kinds of therapies that's just beginning now. Thank you.